Crisis leadership is the ability of executive leaders to guide an organization effectively through unexpected disruptions, high uncertainty, and rapidly evolving challenges while protecting stakeholders, preserving organizational resilience, and sustaining long-term value creation. Unlike routine management, crisis leadership requires leaders to make high-impact decisions under pressure with incomplete information, coordinate diverse stakeholders, communicate transparently, and maintain organizational confidence during periods of significant disruption. For modern chief financial officers, CFOs, crisis leadership has become a strategic executive competency because financial leaders play a central role in safeguarding liquidity, managing enterprise risks, supporting business continuity, communicating with capital markets, and enabling organizational recovery during crises. Leading executive CFO programs emphasize that crises have become more frequent and interconnected due to globalization, digital transformation, geopolitical instability, cybersecurity threats, pandemics, climate-related events, financial market volatility, and supply chain disruptions. Organizations can no longer rely solely on contingency planning. They require leadership teams capable of responding rapidly while maintaining strategic direction and stakeholder trust. CFOs have evolved from financial stewards into enterprise leaders who combine analytical discipline with executive judgment to support resilient decision-making under uncertainty. The foundation of crisis leadership is preparedness rather than reaction. High-performing organizations establish enterprise risk management frameworks, crisis management teams, business continuity plans, communication protocols, scenario analyses, and contingency financing arrangements before crises occur. Preparation enables executive teams to respond quickly while minimizing confusion and operational disruption. CFOs contribute by developing liquidity strategies, stress testing financial assumptions, maintaining access to funding sources, and establishing governance mechanisms that support effective crisis response. A defining characteristic of crisis leadership is rapid decision-making under uncertainty. During crises, executives rarely possess complete information, yet delaying decisions may increase organizational risk. Effective leaders gather available evidence, evaluate alternative scenarios, assess risks, and make timely decisions while remaining flexible enough to adapt as new information emerges. CFOs support this process through financial modeling, sensitivity analysis, scenario planning, predictive forecasting, and data analytics that improve executive decision quality despite uncertainty. Communication is one of the most critical responsibilities during crises. Employees, investors, customers, suppliers, regulators, lenders, and communities seek accurate and timely information regarding organizational conditions, leadership actions, and future expectations. Effective crisis leaders communicate with transparency, empathy, consistency, and credibility while acknowledging uncertainty when necessary. CFOs play a central role in communicating financial performance, liquidity position, capital allocation decisions, recovery strategies, and enterprise resilience to boards, investors, rating agencies, and financial institutions, thereby preserving stakeholder confidence. Financial resilience is a core component of crisis leadership. Organizations facing economic shocks, operational disruptions, or geopolitical instability require strong liquidity management, disciplined capital allocation, cost optimization, and financial flexibility. CFOs evaluate cash flow scenarios, preserve working capital, optimize financing structures, prioritize investments, and implement contingency measures that protect organizational stability without undermining long-term strategic objectives. Financial resilience allows organizations to withstand temporary disruptions while maintaining capacity for future growth. Enterprise risk management, provides an essential framework for crisis leadership. Organizations face interconnected risks involving cybersecurity, supply chains, technology failures, regulatory changes, geopolitical events, climate change, reputation, and financial markets. CFOs integrate risk assessment into strategic planning through risk appetite frameworks, stress testing, key risk indicators, and scenario analysis that improve organizational preparedness and executive decision-making. Crisis leaders recognize that risk management is not merely defensive but a strategic capability that enhances organizational agility and resilience. Digital transformation has significantly changed crisis leadership practices. Artificial intelligence, advanced analytics, cloud computing, enterprise dashboards, and real-time collaboration platforms enable executives to monitor operations, financial performance, customer behavior, and supply chain conditions continuously during crises. CFOs leverage digital technologies to provide real-time financial visibility, predictive forecasting, and rapid scenario analysis that support agile decision-making and coordinated enterprise responses. People leadership becomes particularly important during organizational crises. Employees often experience uncertainty, stress, and declining morale during periods of disruption. Effective crisis leaders demonstrate empathy, visibility, transparency, and emotional intelligence while maintaining organizational focus and confidence. CFOs increasingly contribute to workforce stability by supporting transparent communication, protecting critical talent, prioritizing employee well-being, and ensuring financial decisions balance cost management with long-term human capital sustainability. Crisis leadership also requires cross-functional collaboration. Successful crisis response depends on coordinated action among finance, operations, technology, legal, communications, human resources, risk management, and executive leadership teams. CFOs frequently act as enterprise integrators by aligning financial priorities with operational continuity, technology resilience, supply chain management, regulatory compliance, and stakeholder communication. Cross-functional leadership reduces organizational fragmentation while accelerating coordinated responses to evolving challenges. Boards of directors play an essential governance role during crises by providing oversight, strategic guidance, and accountability.
CFOs support board decision-making through transparent financial reporting, risk analysis, liquidity assessments, capital planning, and strategic recommendations that enable informed governance. Effective collaboration between executive management and board strengthens organizational resilience while maintaining stakeholder confidence in leadership and governance practices. Environmental, social, and governance (ESG) considerations have expanded the scope of crisis leadership. Climate events, cybersecurity incidents, ethical misconduct, social unrest, and public health emergencies require organizations to balance financial performance with employee safety, community impact, environmental responsibility, and long-term stakeholder relationships. CFOs increasingly integrate ESG considerations into crisis planning, resilience strategies, and enterprise reporting to strengthen sustainable value creation and corporate responsibility. The post-crisis recovery phase is equally important as immediate response. Effective leaders conduct lessons learned reviews, strengthen governance systems, improve risk management capabilities, modernize technology infrastructure, enhance business continuity planning, and invest in organizational learning that improves future resilience. CFOs evaluate financial outcomes, recovery investments, operational performance, and strategic adjustments that position organizations for renewed growth following disruption. The Global Competency Framework identifies leadership, enterprise risk management, governance, strategic thinking, communication, business partnering, performance management, stakeholder management, and resilience as essential competencies for executive finance professionals. Modern CFOs are expected to lead confidently during crises, integrate financial stewardship with enterprise-wide leadership, support strategic decision-making under uncertainty, and strengthen organizational resilience through disciplined governance and collaborative executive leadership. In today's volatile and interconnected global economy, crisis leadership has become a defining capability of successful executive teams. Organizations whose CFOs combine financial expertise, strategic judgment, adaptive leadership, transparent communication, and enterprise risk management into effective crisis leadership are better positioned to protect stakeholders, sustain operations, accelerate recovery, and create long-term enterprise value despite periods of extraordinary uncertainty and disruption.